What I'm about to say is probably going to ruffle a lot of feathers, even people who enjoy this series like myself, as I do have a small following who, like me, really enjoy Sagrada Reset. But I know this probably is a Brandon-only opinion, and if there is another person with a similar one, I'm probably never going to see them in my comment section. But I honestly think this is the best episode of the season so far. Now, obviously this is my opinion, and I'm not saying people have to agree with that, but for me, this episode was just fascinating. It was so interesting, it brought up so many questions, and we're going to dive into all the little details that really stood out to me. But even with the amazing sequels, Attack on Titan, My Hero Academia, and even like Shingeki no Bahamut Virgin Soul, it just feels like this was the most captivating episode I've watched from this season. Now, I don't think this is the best series of the season, I do think it's probably top 5 for myself, but I really love this episode. This episode, we get a bit of backstory with Kei himself, how he ended up in this town, as I just assumed he was always in this town. He was born in the town and he lived in the town. But we get the confirmation that back when he was a child, I think it was 4 years prior back, he was on the train, and the random dude sits down next to him and hands him a phone, to which he talks to what's known as the witch. And I mean, when I'm watching this, I'm just like, damn, Kay, like, if you, like, were taught anything as a kid, you know, you don't talk to strangers and shit like that, but he just kind of rolls with it, and essentially she tells him not to go into the town, whatever he does, but that's actually kind of like reverse psychology, because she knows the future. Her ability is, like, whoever she touches, she can kind of, like, see the future of, and she did it for herself, and essentially she knew that if she spoke to him this way, that would force his hand into coming to the town because he's important. And I've been speculating since we've learned of the MacGuffin, this little stone, and kind of what it is that Kei himself is the MacGuffin. And this episode makes me think that's even more true than I was, like, even thinking before. Because he meets up with the witch later on in life. She is a part of the Bureau. She is essentially a tool for the Bureau. She's not the one who created, but she's one of the tools that they use probably for her ability to see the future, so they know what to do, who to recruit, things like that. But what really got me is how she reads Kei's future. Now, she can't tell Kei his future. There's cameras watching her, and probably it would just change the future. She can't do that. But essentially, she apologizes for Kei, and then Kei says, I mean, I came to the town for my own, being. Like, I wanted to come to the town. I'm happy I came to the town. And she more or less says, that's not what I'm referring to, implying something in the future is going to happen to Kei, that she's very sorry that she had to drag him into this town, and what that could be, it could be a multitude of things. Him dying, him losing someone close, maybe erasing memories. There's a lot that they can go with. We're in a town that has supernatural powers, and many things could go wrong. But she apologizes, but then it gets even more ominous and just eerie when she talks to Haruki herself and essentially is asking, what is it do you like about Kei? Like, what if, Kei was like this talking stone? The whole conversation implied, like, what if Kei was the MacGuffin? What if he was just a lifeless object? What if he was a stone? Would you care for him the same? What if it was just a random pebble on the road? The entire conversation just leads me to believe that my theory, Kei himself is the MacGuffin, not in the traditional sense that he's a stone, but essentially he is just the plot device to make everything happen, because a lot of people are saying, like, this is just a big rumor, like, this stone doesn't have the ability to control all powers, but what if Kei himself does? What if Kei and the stone have the ability, or what if it's just Kei himself? His actual ability isn't just remembering things. What if he has all of the abilities? What if he is for some grand master plan, and that's why she's, like, apologizing, because he's just gonna become the next tool for the Bureau, similar to her. There's so many ways that they can take this, but the entire conversation between the witch and Kei and the witch and Haruki just leads me to believe that my theory might be very plausible. I just found it to be very interesting overall, just watching the overall episode and learning more about the witch and the Bureau, and just some of the things that are happening, like when Kei is talking to this old man who had his powers removed from him, and his ability is very fascinating, where, like, he can reminisce in the past. Essentially, he can take a look at a picture and enter the picture and enter the memory for a set period of time, and then once again, similar to Haruki's power, they lay out the groundwork of, like, a time limit, how he has to be in the same spot when he rips up the picture. But Kei notices a girl in one of the pictures who's holding the MacGuffin stone, and he says, as a reward, once I get your powers back, please let me see your power firsthand, implying that he's going to want to go into that picture and figure out what the hell that girl is doing and why she had the stone. So it's going to be interesting, and I mean, the entire thing, like, near the end, I saw some people just kind of, like, on different social media sites say how, like, the villain of this is just so typical. She's just like, I'm just evil for the sake of being evil, but we just met her. We don't know her true plans and what's ultimately happening. Like, and if this show has shown us anything, is that everything's more complex than it originally lets on. So I'm sure this girl at the very end, who's saying, I'm going to threaten you, I'm going to remove Haruki's power, just so you can be crushed, there's probably something more to that. But I just loved the overall episode. I thought Minus the mouth movements, the animation and art quality was on point. I thought the OST was pretty good, and just the overall substance to this episode, it had my mind racing, and once again, I thought I was watching for 5 minutes, and then the episode's credits started playing. I really like this series. I know I'm in a majority, a select few who really enjoy it, and I'm sure I might be the only one saying this was my favorite episode of the season so far, but I really enjoyed it. I think the concept of the witch and her whole memory ability, her apologizing to Kay, also questioning Haruki about if she had the stone and all that, it just leads me to believe that some of my theories and speculation may come true in the future, but there's so much to the series, you couldn't even begin to pinpoint exactly what's happening, and I love it about series like this. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Did you love the episode? Did you hate it? Or do you think it was just okay? Before you leave, please be sure to like the video to share your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.